Hey everyone, it's Ashley here from the Recipe Rebel, and today we are making a pineapple coconut layer cake. Pineapple and coconut is one of those flavor combinations that always reminds me of Easter and spring. This cake is fresh and fruity, but it's not over the top sweet. It's made with an easy pineapple filling and the best cream cheese frosting. We're gonna start by combining our oil, sour cream, and sugar in a large bowl with a whisk. So now we're gonna add in our coconut milk, eggs, vanilla, and coconut extract, and we're gonna give it a good stir. So now that our wet ingredients are combined, I'm gonna add in the baking powder, baking soda, and salt. I'm gonna give them a good stir before I add in the flour, because once we add that flour in, we don't wanna overmix. Now that our flour is combined, we are just gonna add in our crushed pineapple, coconut. We're gonna give it a quick stir, and then we are going to spread it into our pans. I have 3 8-inch cake pans here, and I have lightly greased them with some nonstick spray. I like to also flour them just to ensure that my cakes are gonna come out nice and clean. To do that, we're just gonna take a small amount of flour and just sprinkle it in the greased pan. Then we're just gonna tap it around so that it covers the bottom. I'm not too worried about the sides. If we just flour the bottom, it's still gonna help a lot. And then, once we have the bottom totally covered, I'm just gonna tap the excess into the next pan and keep going. Now I'm going to just divide our cake batter between our pans and pop them in the oven. So while our cakes are in the oven, we're just gonna make our filling and our frosting. So for our frosting, we need just 3 ingredients. We're gonna use the rest of the crushed pineapple with the juice, a bit of milk, and some instant vanilla pudding. We are making a scratch-made cake, and this is one shortcut I like to take to make things a little bit simpler. So now that our filling is done, we're just gonna set that aside, and we're gonna make our cream cheese frosting. So whenever we are making anything with cream cheese, we wanna make sure that it is room temperature so that it beats up nice and smooth, no lumps. We're gonna beat it on its own first, then we're gonna add in the butter. So now we're gonna add in our vanilla, coconut extract, and just a pinch of salt. I like to start with unsalted butter and add my own in so I can control how salty it is. So now we're gonna add our powdered sugar, and I recommend adding it gradually for 2 reasons. The first reason is that you won't have an explosion of powdered sugar in your kitchen. The second reason is so that you can control how sweet the frosting is in the end. And it's always important when we're making frosting that we give it a little taste before we cover our cake in it. We want to make sure that it is just right. So because our cake layers need to be totally cool before we can fill and frost them, I like to make my cake in advance. You can do it the same day if you like, But cake is so great for making ahead, popping in the refrigerator for a couple days, or even in the freezer for up to 3 months before you pull it out and assemble everything. Just wrap them individually in plastic wrap and you're good to go. So I'm gonna start by placing one cake layer on the bottom, and then I'm gonna top with my pineapple filling. So we placed about half of our pineapple filling on top of the first layer, and we don't want to get too close to the edge because when we put the next layer on top, we don't want it to squish out all over the place. So at this point, if you want, you can pop this in the freezer until it's firm and then you can frost. It'll be a little bit neater, but I'm not too concerned about that today. Who am I kidding? I bring in my husband to frost the cake because I have no patience to make it smooth. I will do the pretty stuff. So you can decorate your cake however you like or not. You can bring in the husband to help if you need, like I do. It's time for a taste test.